Welcome to the channel, viewers. Dr. J.W. Morrison, theologist. I've had a close look at the Fatima Payman, Pauline Hanson situation. I'm not saying I'm an expert on a lot of this, but what we've got to ask ourselves, the question is Pauline Hanson racism abuses relative to the fact that she's against certain races? Is it against these races as to the quality of their character and the quality of their cultures? Possibly like the rest of us, possibly in part. Or is it due to the quantity of these different nationalities coming into the country? Is she against the people of those nationalities, or is she working as a senator for Australia to make sure that the numbers of these different nationalities of people and things that are coming into the country are at a ratio that's acceptable? I think people have confused the fact that Pauline Hanson has this attitude and dislike towards individual races and cultures, instead of and confusing this with the fact that she's talking about the quantity of these people coming into our country. You've got to understand, the Netherlands is now per capita, the national Dutch people are outnumbered by immigrants. That's just the Netherlands. If you look at Fiji, the Fijians are unable to undo the Indian migration that come to Fiji. I say that respectfully. It's about numbers. It's about numbers. It's not about the personal characteristics of the people of all these different cultures, and this is where it's gotten completely and utterly confused.
Senator Hanson, why don't you just look at me when you're saying all these things through the chair? Because it's absolutely outrageous that you're going to come to this place to suspend.
Let me just point out that red hair there at the bottom left-hand part of the screen is Senator Hanson, Pauline Hanson, and Fatima Payman is directly addressing her in the physical sense from behind, but she should really be addressing Senator Hanson through the chair, which is the way in which Senate runs. Sorry, viewers. Oops.
Standing orders when we've got an agenda full of important things that Australians want us to do, and instead of representing your constituents through the chair, Senator Hanson is more caught up in the Section 44. You know what?
Now let me just say, viewers, if I can, and if you're prepared to listen to what I have to say, which is not all, as to most people, that important. Fatima Payman was introduced into the Senate through Anthony Albanese to join the Labor Party, and she was entrusted by Albanese, who obviously has not done his due diligence in checking the character and here we go, character of this woman relative to her faithfulness towards the privileges and the opportunities that were given to her by Albanese, right? Because she's jumped ship. She's jumped out of the Labor Party, and a simple way of putting it is trod them underfoot, saying that she was abused, she was not listened to, she was treated like a child. If you have a close look at the way in which she's dealing with this situation with Senator Pauline Hanson, she does have some infantile tendencies herself, but Section 44C, I think it is, or Section 44, something has to do with Fatima Payman not having dual citizenship to some extent. Now, there's some complexities as to how Fatima Payman is supposed to renounce or denounce her citizenship because of the government and the way it's run in Afghanistan. But I heard somebody comment that Fatima Payman could, one way or another, denounce her citizenship with Afghanistan through some kind of well, there's several different means in which she can do it, because it's hard for her to get the paperwork out of Afghanistan for her to rescind her citizenship there. She did come to Australia as a young person, so it's complex. But the underlying problem is proof of the fact that Fatima Payman has separated herself from her rights as a citizen of Afghanistan, and it's a very grey area at the moment, but they're trying to get to the bottom of it. It's not an attack against the person herself. It's got nothing to do with racism whatsoever. It's got to do with Pauline Hanson keeping the rules and laws of Parliament in order, and these rules and laws have impacted other senators in the past, including, I believe, Jackie Lambie, who is a very solid senator in the Parliament. And Fatima Payman's actually having, to me, a dummy spit, because Pauline Hanson's putting her position relative to her citizenship in Afghanistan to the test. Because if she, through the High Court, if it goes to the High Court, which I believe it should, no different to anybody else in this situation, if it does go to the High Court and Fatima Payman cannot be voted back in, this is going to put the Muslim agenda for a individual party back to zero. You see, Fatima Payman's broken away to start her own party, which is by nature going to be fundamentally Muslim, whether she wants to admit that or not, but that's the whole crux of behind it, to help the Muslim culture and Muslim people in this country have a political voice. She's been sent out as the one that's got the authority and to encourage these people to build this party, and they are. But she's now put herself she's come out from under the radar, pushing her weight around, but I don't think she's done it the right way, because she's now exposed herself as very infantile. She's not getting away. She's like a child that's thrown itself on the floor and yelling and screaming at its mummy or daddy. What you've got to understand is Pauline Hanson is an Australian senator, and she should be respected as that. Pauline Hanson, standing on Australian values and the Christian constitutional fundamental ways of Australia, has been attacked because we've over-multiculturalised. And when we come back to the fact that Australia is under the Commonwealth of Britain, even though it's an individual entity unto itself, we are by origin convicts and whatnot and settlers from Great Britain. Now watch how this plays out. I'll just see how much worth playing, but it goes on a little bit long. But what you got to understand, Hanson's not about the quality of individual nationalities coming into the country. You've got to understand it's about the quantity and the way in which this is happening. If you look at America right at the moment, Donald Trump's about to unleash one of the biggest deportation operations history has ever seen. because he believes that if you want to come to the United States, you need to do it the right way, and that hasn't happened. Let's see what Fatima Payman's attitude is towards Pauline Hanson challenging her DNA roots with Afghanistan, and whether they've been broken completely or not.
You've worn the burqa, through the chair. Senator Hanson has worn the burqa in this place. Maybe it's time that she pack her burqa and go to Afghanistan and talk to the Taliban about this, because clearly when the Labor Party...
Now, here Fatima Payman makes a very strong statement, but to herself. Why isn't she going to the Taliban and getting the paperwork to prove that her fundamental loyalties now lie with the nation of Australia? Why isn't she doing that? She's actually just thrown herself under the bus. She should be on a plane, flying to Afghanistan, getting all the paperwork in order so that she can come back to the Senate and continue on, no questions asked. But why hasn't Fatima Payman done that? I've watched a couple of videos saying it's not complicated. What's so complicated about that? She seems to think that Pauline Hanson would have no trouble doing it. And I'm not being smart.
They put me up as a candidate. They did their homework, and here it is. Here's the advice, Senator Hanson. Do you want to see it for yourself? Because no, you're in absolute denial.
Now let me just say, Fatima Payman now is not speaking through the chair. Okay, so she's completely out of order under the rules of Senate. She is speaking and addressing Pauline Hanson directly, behind her back actually, and this happens to many people in different ways in life. How people go on about each other behind their backs and they're not helping each other or resolving anything, they're just stabbing each other in the back.
All that Senator Hanson does in this place is spread hatred, spread division, because that's what you're made to do here. And
so at this point you can see in the body language and the loss of words, Fatima Payman's losing her way, completely losing her way. She's trying to say that all Pauline Hanson does is spread hatred and division and all this other stuff, and you can see by the minister sitting behind her, he's absolutely not convinced of that, and neither should we be. Fatima Payman's in a corner. It's a corner that she doesn't like. She's being prodded with a stick to be accountable and responsible, and she does not like it at all. And this is how people react. This is like a child in a shopping centre throwing itself on the floor in the aisle, on its back, screaming and yelling to get what it wants.
And it's outrageous. It's beyond comprehension.
No, it's not beyond comprehension at all. It's quite easy to understand. All Fatima Payman has to do is get the right proof that she needs to prove that her loyalties to Afghanistan, her relative to her citizenship, are annulled, and the show goes on. But Fatima Payman's failed to do that under the pretense that it's too complicated, that it's not possible, which is not true. I tell you this, let me say this, if I had the parliamentary privilege to be a senator and to get the money they get and all the lurks and perks that they get, I would have been on the first flight to Afghanistan to get my rescind citizenship papers, and I would have been on the next flight back to present them to make sure that my position in the Australian Parliament was secured.
Here, take it! Absolutely just don't understand that we're wasting our time talking about a matter that has no basis.
Well, the matter of Section 44, I think it's C, I don't know, forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to be a know-it-all, I'm just trying to point out some facts here. the whole crux of the situation is the accountability and responsibility of Fatima Payman to prove that she's not an Afghanistan citizen by origin. And she's failed to do that. That's all it is. It's not as to the character of the person or the race of the person. It's to do with the way in which the Senate works and runs. And it's not an isolated case. This has happened many times before.
You've had it good for too long, Senator Hanson.
Okay, Senator Hanson's had it too good for too long. The woman's been jailed. They put her in jail. They constantly attack and abuse her like this woman is now. And here, Senator Hanson, she's interjecting.
Through the chair.
Senator Hanson, is this a point of order?
Yes, it is, because if she's got the documents, I ask her to table those documents.
That's not a point of order. Senator Payman, you have the call.
I am very honoured that I live rent-free in Senator Hanson's mind, but I think you've got better things to do than worry about Section 44 here when there's nothing to see. I mean...
Okay, if there's nothing to see, then you need to prove it, Fatima Payman. And she hasn't been able to do that. And by the constitutional laws and way in which the Senate runs, she has to. Now, it's going to be very interesting to see if this goes to the High Court, and it should, how they're going to deal with this, because they can put, when Hanson went to court against, or when Faruqi took Hanson to court and Hanson lost, Angus Stewart, who, from what I know about Angus Stewart, he's South African by origin. He played a tremendous part in the Royal Commission into Institutions and Child Sexual Abuse. He played a tremendous part relative to the Jehovah's Witnesses. And he was actually, look, I have to be honest, he was quite a hero in the way in which he navigated the evils of that organisation. And you can watch that through the Royal Commission of the Jehovah's Witnesses 2015 Australia. Very interesting viewing on how evil that organisation is. And Angus Stewart played an absolutely tremendous role in helping the sexually abused children's rights in that case. It was he was tremendous. But for some strange reason, he's got this part muddled up with Hanson. She is not a convicted racist because it was a civil case, and people have got that wrong. The ABC actually had to renounce the fact that they reported that, and I'll show you this now just so that you realise how mixed up people have got all this. So here's the ABC's pullback from what Pauline Hanson has been accused of.
Now, before we move to our next story, we just want to correct the record about something said on the show yesterday. We invited Senator Lydia Thorpe on the program to discuss why she tore up a motion One Nation Senator Pauline Hanson put to the floor of Parliament on Wednesday. At the very end of the interview, Senator Thorpe said Pauline Hanson was a, quote, convicted racist. Now, Senator Thorpe was referring to a ruling in a civil trial that found Pauline Hanson racially discriminated against Deputy Greens leader Marine Faruqi in a social media post. Given that trial was a civil trial, there is of course no way a conviction could have occurred. So we just wanted to correct that for the record.
So there you go, and that was one day ago.
Deputy President, I would like to make a few quotes from Senator Hanson that has previously indicated...
No, Senator Payman, you have to withdraw for the benefit of the chamber, but then you can quote as much as you want.
I will withdraw so I can proceed.
Now proceed.
Thank you. Senator Hanson's quote, "I challenge anyone to tell me one thing that I've said that is racist." And here I begin. There's a few. There's so many we could be here all day. She has said, I believe we're in danger of being swamped by Asians. 1998 policy speech, she said Aboriginality would no longer exist under her party's policies.
That's not an attack on the Aboriginal people. That's a statement bringing back into order the situation that this country's truly in. It's a hard, horrible reality. But the fact of the matter is, whether the Aboriginals were here before the Australians or colonial people, the Commonwealth arrived on its shores, the Commonwealth took over the country, but it didn't take over the country to the negligence of the Aboriginals. They've got billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars in grants. And the trouble with the First Nations people truly begun not because the Commonwealth didn't say sorry for taking possession of Australia, because that's all been done too many times. But when they started to grandise the First Nations people and give them billions and billions and billions of dollars worth of grants out of the goodness and the kindness and the prosperity of the Australian government. That's it. I don't think that we're cruel to the Aboriginals at all. I think that's all gone way too far. I think the Aboriginals have been given more than the average Australian person's chance to have opportunity. In fact, I'm friends with a lot of very successful Aboriginal people, and it's up to the individual what they want to make out of the way Australia is. I don't think Australia's been cruel to them, and this idea that we have is so evil and so far out of context. If you add up, I mean, if you were a normal Australian and doing your due diligence on the lurks and perks that the First Nations people get, you would be absolutely shocked. Absolutely shocked. We are not mistreating the Aboriginal people.
In another statement, she says, we're bringing in people from South Africa at the moment. There's a huge amount coming into Australia who have disease. They've got AIDS. If that is not racist, what is it?
Now, that's not racist, that's about concern. Now, I was married to a South African woman, and I know that they're fleeing South Africa to all different nations of the world because the place is not run. It's a third world country. And there's some very intelligent and clever South African people. But some do leave that country to come here with disease. Now, that's not racist. That's a caution statement. We're not cautious enough. We're not vetting these people properly to make sure that they're entering the country financially, physically, mentally, in a mentally healthy state. One of the big things in the United States, President Trump was saying a lot of the people that have crossed the border are not right in their mind. They harm people. A lot of them are sick. So it's not about the nature and the character of these people. It's about the way in which these people are coming into the country and whether it's healthy or not, or whether the numbers are fair or not.
Oh, it's not racist. Oh, somebody bring the dictionary because Senator Hanson does not know the definition of racism.
Now, Fatima Payman at this point is completely unravelled.
The fact that you would say just weeks ago to Senator Faruqi, piss off back to Pakistan, you're not just vindictive, mean, nasty, you bring disgrace to the human race.
Now that's very infantile, and it's a you bring disgrace to the human race. Who does she think she is? Who does she think she is, saying that Pauline Hanson brings disgrace to the human race? Now, you Australians that are watching this, let's find out why Senator Hanson confronted Mehreen Faruqi. And if you've studied Mehreen Faruqi, or I think it's how you pronounce the surname. I apologise, Senator Faruqi, if it's not. But she's a fanatical, radical Muslim that's doing more work for the country of Palestine than she is for the Australians, and we're paying for it. I'm going to challenge many of you by saying not many of you people truly know who Mehreen Faruqi as a senator is and what she does. But I've watched this woman, and she's been, she is not representing the Australian people as far as I'm concerned in any aspect or respect. But what stirred up Pauline Hanson, and it should have stirred up all of us, any of us that respected Queen Elizabeth II. She said in a social media post just hours after Her Majesty the Queen died, this is what she said. She said she can't mourn the leader of a racist empire built on stolen lives, land and wealth of colonised people. And I could show you video from Mehreen Faruqi's YouTube channel that would show you truly what this woman's about, and it's not in the best interest of Australia or Australian people. She's a radical, fanatic, Muslim representative in Australia. And that's why Pauline Hanson told Mehreen Faruqi to piss off back to Pakistan. Because she offended all of Australians, true Australians, that loved and had respect for the Queen, who died. Who does Mehreen Faruqi think she is, putting up a tweet in front of all of us, offending not only the Queen, but our country and us as people? We've become weak. We have become very weak, and these people are starting to walk all over us, and Pauline Hanson, as our representative, is not going to have it.
No dignity whatsoever as a senator in this prestigious place where we're supposed to bring unity, where we're...
Ladies and gentlemen, this has just gone into a demonic, demonised attack. It's not representing the true character of Pauline Hanson. She's just tried to fact check her on statements that Pauline Hanson's made, which had nothing to do with the quality of the people that were coming here relative to what their character might be. It had to do with the welfare of this nation relative to the people coming in. And now we've got this rant, infantile rant, by a breakaway rogue senator against one of our, what I believe, leading senators in the parliament. And I say that without partiality or favouritism.
We're supposed to have that freedom of expression, yes, but within boundaries and confinements of respect. I kept on giving you the benefit of the doubt, Senator Hanson.
Oh, that's lovely, isn't it? She's only been in the parliament a couple of years. She hasn't been sent to jail yet or anything like that, and she's given Hanson the benefit of the doubt. Fatima Payman, us Australians are giving you the benefit of the doubt. You work for us, and until you can prove that you are not an Afghanistan citizen, you're an illegitimate senator. I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt, given your attitude to a senator, in which a lot of people don't understand or want to honour, but I honour Pauline Hanson. And I don't think the way Fatima Payman's dealing with this at all is helping who she is. Lydia Thorpe asks, what kind of a person do you think I am? Well, is this the kind of person that Fatima Payman truly is when she doesn't get away? A little tantrum thrower?
Despite your repetitive attempts to be racist to anyone who does not look like you.
And that is completely exaggerated and totally delusional on the part of Fatima Payman. And this is the narrative, right? What happens is we become desensitized to discern the words of these people. We just listen. And subconsciously our mind takes this on board, like with Donald Trump. The narrative, Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that, and people believe the narrative, right? Because we become undiscerned, we do not discern, we don't have the facts. So this woman's making statements that are completely invalid and character assassinating.
You are a convicted
Senator
Okay, so Senator Hanson just yells out in the background, you are a convicted racist. As I said to you, Pauline Hanson has not been convicted of racism. And I think Lydia Thorpe's going to be pursued about this. So is Channel 9 at the moment. There's been a letter sent, I'm sure it's Channel 9 or the ABC's put their tail between their legs. Let's go to that just as a reminder.
Now, before we move to our next story, we just want to correct the record about something said on the show yesterday. We invited Senator Lydia Thorpe on the program to discuss why she tore up a motion One Nation Senator Pauline Hanson put to the floor of Parliament on Wednesday. At the very end of the interview, Senator Thorpe said Pauline Hanson was a, quote, convicted racist. Now, Senator Thorpe was referring to a ruling in a civil trial that found Pauline Hanson racially discriminated against Deputy Greens leader Mehreen Faruqi in a social media post. Given that trial was a civil trial, there is of course no way a conviction could have occurred. So we just wanted to correct that for the record.
So between Payman, Thorpe and Faruqi, the big three, the only thing Faruqi's got going for her is she hasn't broken away or thrown a coup within the Greens yet, but I'm sure at some stage she might. Although that's just the way I see it. This is how the nature of these people. You're just about to hear Lydia Thorpe say she's a convicted racist, which a lot of people on social media have run with, but they haven't fact-checked it. Sorry about that, to spoil that little party for all you that hate Pauline Hanson, and she's opposing that. What happened in that court case, but let's carry on.
You are a convicted
Senator Hanson, point of order.
Racist.
Yes, Senator Hanson.
Yes, I do, and I want these comments about calling me racist
You're a convicted
withdrawn.
Racist.
Senator Thorpe, please. This is not adding to the Senator Thorpe. This is not adding to the debate. Accusing someone of being a racist is in breach of the standing orders. Senator Payman can just withdraw that and continue with your remarks.
Racist.
For the benefit of the chamber.
For the benefit of this chamber, I will withdraw. But you know what, Senator Hanson? How do you live with yourself, Senator Hanson, with so much violent hatred? How do you live through your days spreading hatred?
Now, this is the contradiction. This is the paradox of it all. It's actually Thorpe, Faruqi and Payman that are creating the hatred and the discord by their predator, victim, racist mentality, because they're not victims of racism at all. They've got all the privileges and blessings of being in an Australian country that you could have. Pauline Hanson's not against these people at all. As a matter of fact, if you have any understanding of what's going on here, they're actually against her because she challenges their stance, and she challenges their stance based on the Australian Constitution. And that's a hard thing to be confronted with, and this is a reaction that you get.
How do you go to sleep? How do you look your neighbours in the eye knowing that you come to this place and spreading the vile hatred, the vile comments that you make. It's disgraceful.
Now you can see there's the true Fatima Payman, or Fatima Payman, or Fatima Payman. There's her. There she is. There. Okay, that's the time bomb. That's the ticking time bomb underneath, and she's only talking to herself because what she's saying is not true. It has no substance. It's just her idealism, her delusion of who Pauline Hanson truly is. And people will run with that. That's how the masses work. They'll run with this. But there's what's underneath Fatima Payman, that face. That's what's really going on under. She's projecting. She's trying to blame Hanson for the hatred and discord that she's caused herself. She turned against the party that introduced her to the Senate. She's a rogue. An absolute breakaway rogue for the Muslims. Oh, does that mean I'm racist again? No, she's just doing it for the Muslims. That's what all there is to it. It's got nothing to do about what I think of them. No, I'm a Christian. I've got to just watch what's going on. But look at that face, viewers.
It's disgusting. I have no other words to describe your actions because you come here and I don't know how you're going to justify it to every Australian out there watching, because I hope you're watching what Senator Hanson's doing.
No. And this is the beauty of it. We're watching what you're doing, Fatima Payman, very closely. Your breach of trust with the Labor Party, throwing the Labor Party under the bus, breaking away as a rogue senator, trying to start a Muslim party, covertly, coming in, attacking the one of the stalwarts of our Senate, Pauline Hanson. No, we're watching what you're doing, Fatima Payman. We're not stupid.
She's holding up business of the day because she is obsessed with me. Wow.
No, she's not obsessed with you. Oh no, she is not. She's working in the best interests of the Australian government and the Australian people. And that might not suit the left woke people and all these ones that just go along with the narrative. But if we don't keep things in order, and if we're not if we don't stop partiality, this is the sort of reaction. I've seen people do this in the school playground. This actual part that she's doing now, the mocking. I've seen people do this in the school playground. It's pathetic.
Well done.
And there you go. So viewers, I'm going to leave that up to you to decide what you feel as to the way in which Fatima Payman reacted to the scrutiny of Section 44 relative to her citizenship regarding Afghanistan. See you on the next one.